An imposter syndrome is so hilarious to me. I feel like I live in a constant state of that.
Well, that's better than the opposite douchebag syndrome.
Yeah, for sure. Be like, I know fucking everything. I tell people that at a time, like, this is what I know, but I don't know shit.
Yeah. The thing I'm wrapping around my mind around is like one of their things that they try to focus or teach on is how to have how to bypass your not cosmic karmic
chain.
Yeah, your debts. So like a lot of times he was like, I've been learning like when you start to go on an enlightened trip, anybody, not me, but like I've been doing this shit forever, but like anyone, like you start doing yoga or you start learning some different thing to improve your life spiritually, whatever, in any spiritual realm, that your karmic debt comes up quick.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you remember this bullshit you did? You need to apologize for that.
Yeah, or like it hits you, like all the stuff that's happened, right?
That's step 9 in programs. I watched somebody today that talks like his whole platform is like helping people with like recovery. Step 8 is like writing down a list of all the people you wronged, and then step 9 is go and apologize to those motherfuckers for all the shitty stuff you've done. Yeah,
it was just saying like once you go on this, it's not like bad things start happening, you get sick. This person happens, you lose your job, something awful situation happens. You're like, what is why is the universe conspiring against me?
Have you ever seen that image where it's like a cliff? It's like a so it's you're standing on the cliff, and then it's God, someone flicking you, and that's God. Then it's got a hand catching you, and that's God. And it's got these other things, and it's like we're just kind of gonna beat you up, and this is all your like spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I think people think that.
Yeah, it's like people think that the spiritual awakening is like, oh my gosh, like I feel so connected, and it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah, apparently there's a universal law. Like once you start doing that, you're I won't say cosmic. It's not that. It's karmic.
Karmic. Yeah.
Yeah, like the shit you've done, debt is due.
Yeah.
Like,
have you ever heard anything kind of like ancestral trauma?
I've heard of that.
Or like ancestral karma in general.
I know of it, but I haven't like put any thought into it.
I know I know a few people who
See,
like
I don't
that's
know if
been
I believe in that, man. Like,
an intent to like break ancestral trauma and like to do the work that your ancestors couldn't do or haven't done, or they passed away before they could get the task done, and to complete that so that you can release that energy.
That sounds fun.
Because it's like, there was a really cool, it was saying like how many people had to live and die for us to be here, like our actual like ancestral chain.
Do you know what that number is?
It's an absurd amount.
That sounds awesome.
It's definitely well above the thousands of people, if not like hundreds of thousands of people had to live and have experiences and die for us to be here. Like
for each one of us, though.
For each one of us,
yeah.
And it's cool how it interweaves, and like how many people like I feel I have a little bit of distance because my immediate family wasn't here until, I don't know, maybe the 40s. My immediate family didn't get here until, my mom and dad came here together in the 80s.
Your mom's American though, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, she was born in North Hollywood.
Well, there you go.
California.
Cali.
And so, I mean, she was here once. She was born in 65. So just like, yeah, there's not a lot of like deep roots in the U.S.
Gotcha.
Because my mom's mom is German, my dad's side is German, so we have a lot over there.
It's all happening over there.
It's all over there.
It's like we're clean.
We got one allele that's from over here.
We're like, we're clean. We're good. There's no.
I know. Like I'm karma. Like we got here in the 80s. Like some of this stuff like that ain't my trauma. We got some other shit that I have to like work out, and I gotta apologize for like ancestrally.
You're like, my kids are screwed because of you.
Guys.
Like I did too much. I'm sorry.
There's a really cool bird sitting on your fence out there.
Yeah, they do that, man. They just kind of they just chill out there.
He's like fat. Yeah, he's got a nice like. Let me describe this bird. He's got a cute little black head, and he's got like this warm, like almost red toned brown on his belly. He's cute.
I think that's why the cats live on the fence.
Hell yeah. They'd be like, I'm going to eat that motherfucker.
Yeah, they just
outdoor cats are like one of the biggest threats to birds.
I watch them.
Mm-hmm. They'll eat them.
Yeah, it's like a death match out there. Like in 3 to 1, I'm just like, what?
And as a sister-in-law to an ornithologist who is a person,
which is trippy. I forgot about that. Yeah,
she's a cool lady. She's a smart gal. I wish I could remember the name of I could look it up. Where she works, because it sounds really fancy. Everything in the UK is like.
It is a little bit fancier.
It's so fancy.
Even when they drink
it's
tea.
like the royal something.
Like even when they drink tea, which is like the least fancy drink you could drink, it's like, oh my God, it's
Tea's
so fancy.
so fancy. Have you seen the things that are like the little flower buds that you put in the hot water and it?
I have not. You make some fancy flower tea. Also, I was talking about the debt, your karmic debt.
Yes.
So like once you start going, like that's why if you're going through some sort of change in your life, like you've never done some sort of like spiritual awakening or like even spirit, that's the kind of connotation, religion, anything, right? Whatever you're into right now, if it's different, then your debt is due. Like, so then you get sick, all this bad stuff happens. You think, oh my God, like, why is the universe, because what's happening
Like, what the fuck did I do? Why are you guys picking on me?
Yeah. And the reason that happens is because like, if you do make a super positive change, then it's like a credit card, then you stop using your credit cards and the debt stops accruing. So it's like, nope, you got to pay it now.
Yeah.
So like in not Buddhism, in the Tao or in the Taoism or Taoism, it's like they tried to skip that step.
Oh, they're like, oh.
Yeah, but it's really hard. Like, so what am I doing? I'm trying to wrap my mind around so what they try to do is in life is to have intention to do something and action happens simultaneously.
Yeah.
So then you can.
That's like the fifth dimension that I was talking about, like your manifestation of your thoughts and your intentions. Sorry, the fourth dimension that happened immediately.
I was like fifth dimension. That's what I was like.
Fifth dimension, I think, is light. Like that's your light body.
Gotcha.
So you get into this. I think the fifth dimension is what they categorize is like Christ consciousness.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Get there.
Yeah. But like for me, I was just like, well, how the fuck do you have intention to do something like quit drinking or whatever and then do it instantaneously?
Yeah. And just stop doing that shit.
Well,
I mean, because we all kind of know. I don't know why we have to keep like reassuring. It's like, you're not supposed to do it. Just stop fucking doing it.
Yeah. But all at the same
hard.
time, like all this, I'm going to do this and this is what's going to happen and it just happens all. It just is a mutual arising of each other, which is kind of crazy. Cause like, how can you do something before you think about it?
Yeah.
So that's like one of the things that once you get there, it's like you've bypassed the universe almost.
Yeah. You're like, I'm just going to
and then he was like,
tap in.
Yeah. Then he was kind of pointing, it was Alan Watts that was talking about it. He put it into a term that makes sense to me because I grew up Baptist. So like my grandparents talked this way. So he was like in the traditional Christian way to look at it. He was like, I don't know if you were taught this, but like never let the devil know what you're going to do.
Oh,
yeah, because he's like the enemy's against you.
Yeah, the church I went to was was a lot more like missions based and spreading the word of God.
That's the way to go. Yeah, that's the way to go.
It was definitely not hell, brimfire, or anything like that. Yeah,
that's the way to go. But it was like, it's just a saying. It's a saying. I didn't be like, never let the devil know what you're going to do.
Gotcha.
Like if you're going to quit drinking, like I'm going to quit drinking, and as soon as you say that, the devil's going to make it the next 80 days.
I'm going to make this really hard for you.
Really effing hard, right? And then he was like, there's a compromise, which sucks too. You could just say, I'm going to not drink today.
Yeah.
And you can do it every day, but then you have to make that conscious choice and bargain with the universe or
which
the devil.
Which is what people with addictions have to do every day.
Yeah. So it's like you have to make that bargain with evil every day. He's like, or you can do what the Taoists do, and it's like, just do it.
Just fucking do it.
You don't think it's just like you have an intention, and you have an action, and it just simultaneously arises at the same time, and then that way no one knows it's happened because it's already done.
Yeah, it's like shit's already done.
Yeah, you don't have to pay
list before you wrote it down.
You don't have to pay you don't have to pay your karmic debt, and then you don't have to like fight with the evil side of spirituality at the same time. And when I heard that, I was like, damn, how do I do that? I always feel like I have like, I used to always joke around like I have this evil inside of me. I've said that for years, but I really think it's pain if you really I boil it down and think about it. But I'm like, so like this, it really caught me when I said that, because I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And then I do feel like sometimes like all this stuff hits me at one time, or like, like there's a battlefield in my mind going on, which would be the devil, like making it hard for me. And I was just like, I want to be able to just instantaneously do that. Yeah. And I don't know how to do it. Like simultaneously make action and intention happen, arise at the same time.
I mean, I guess you'll learn. Fuck around, find out, man.
Yeah, man. So like, I've been like meditating about it, doing all kinds of thinking about it, doing all kinds of stuff. So I guess like that, I can't wrap my mind around. And then he was just talking about like stream, like, how you, and like one of the big thing is the Tao is a huge concept, right? I can't even go into it because I don't understand it enough.
The small little blurb of like the difference between like Buddhism and Taoism is like Buddhism is more spirituality and more like a religion, where Taoism is a little bit more logical, and it's an actual like
it's a way of thinking.
It's a way of thinking, as opposed to like it's not a religion.
Yeah, you don't worship.
And it's like almost like a way of like morality. And then it's both of those things. It's like a regional thing. I know we think both of those kind of are like an Asian esque kind of thing. But I think Buddhism came from India, and then it was adapted and adopted by Asian cultures.
Yeah. So I was just like, and another thing that's kind of blown me away was just talking about like how you had to live in the present. Like there's a book, what's it? T.S. Eliot wrote it. It's called the Four Symphonies of the Quartet. I can't remember. It's a famous, like super famous book. I know you haven't read it because you don't even read new books.
I don't read it.
Yeah, it's like a book from like the 50s or 1800s or whatever.
I've read like 10 books.
Yeah, well, that's 10 more than, you know what I mean? But it was just like the thought is like the man that sits on the train, because it was written a long time ago and reads the newspaper, isn't the same man that got on the train deck. I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah. It's like the guy who showed up on the platform. Isn't the same person who's leaving the train. Yeah,
and the same person that's reading the newspaper, the train, isn't the same person who arrived at his destination.
Yeah.
And that was really hard for me to understand. It's cool when you say it. Like, oh, yeah, totally, man. But I'm like, well, how, like, so it's like the thing, you know, it's, again, when you think about it, it's like, so the things that you've done in the past don't make you the person you are now. You know what I mean? It's not one continuous season or one continuous life. It's
super ever changing.
It's every present moment is its separate entity.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's really hard for me. And I could say it out loud, but like when I really think about what it means and comprehend it, I'm like, whoa. I need a couple of days on that one.
I need to digest that.
Yeah.
information.
So that's the one I've been really working on. And you know, like even if you think about the past, or if you think about the future, you're doing it in the present.
Yeah.
You're still doing it.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I didn't know what was happening.
I'm just pulling this closer.
Yeah.
I'm going to lean back.
Yeah. So it's still happening in the present. And like when I heard that, I was just like, I can't understand that. Like how things that happened to me yesterday he didn't say it didn't affect me. He just said it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
And
I think it's really good to like have that understanding and to respect that in other people. It's like the person you knew last week, you have to accept that may not be the same person you know today.
Yeah. And the example we gave was like, if you don't do it, Marley, she's doing it. Stop it. Marley's licking the camera. It's going to be like, she can't hear me. So like,
you know, she was licking it last time. We didn't notice the shake.
I saw it.
It's not a volcano. It's not a hurricane.
She'll do it the whole time. Go away.
Go get her.
She doesn't like when I wave my hand like that.
She's like, bitch, don't fucking talk to me with that attitude.
That's as sassy as I can get with her. I just shake my wrist at her violently. She's like,
Deaf dog problems. What if she just pissed on the floor right now and was like, fuck you?
I'd be mad.
I'd be like, girl.
The other day she sneeze peed.
Oh.
I wasn't mad at that one though.
They don't have pelvic floor dog specialists, do they?
I don't know, man. She's old. She sneeze peed.
PSA, if you have a pelvic floor, which is all of us, you should go see a pelvic floor therapist, because it's common, but it is not okay for you to pee when you sneeze.
People do that after pregnancy a lot of times.
It's a problem.
Yeah, I get it.
It's an issue that can be solved. It's not something you just have to deal with. I'm sorry. That's my soapbox.
Don't live with pee pants.
Yeah, well, I mean, it just makes me mad that people just accept that that's what their life has to be just because they don't know.
It's just a little pee.
But they ain't got to be like that.
No, I was just joking. When Andre was a
uterus
kid,
anger issues.
When Andre was a kid, there was pee on everything on accident because he was a baby, and the phrase was, "It's just a little pee."
It's just a little pee.
We need to clean that. It's just a little pee.
It's a little pee.
It's a difference between a little and a lot, but
I mean, it still could be a lot, and you're like,
yeah, it's just pee.
It's fine.
But he was talking about like the illusion of the connection of time in a human or in our life. And he was like a good example, like the example that resonated with me is like at nighttime, if you light a cigarette, you know, it glows or whatever. And if you spin it in a circle, it looks like a circle.
Yeah.
He's like, that's life. But it's like, that's time, or like but if you stop, it's still
just the present.
It's still just that one lit moment. It's an illusion. It's not actually there.
That's how hula hoops are so cool.
That is why hula hoops are so cool.
Because the tracers of the light, it's like, this is all continuous and you don't even know because you can't see it.
Yeah. So then I started like really thinking, I was like, so I picture that in my mind. I could see the orange ember burning in an illusionary circle of my life. But then if you could stop each one, it'd be a different moment present. And it's a different person than the one prior to it, the one coming up. And then I stopped thinking about it. And I was just like, that's too much for me.
It's too much. And you probably do this at like 10 p.m. and you're like, wow, I got a lot to think about. And then it's like, now I can't sleep.
I do it all the time. It's not actually too much for me. It's like awesome.
But not too much, but it's a lot. And it just kind of keeps you awake.
Yeah. And then I'm like, well, I got to think about this other thing that we were talking about. Yeah. And then it gets kind of crazy. And then,
life.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I do. One thing that in Taoism, when they look at it, it's frustrating. It's because like I think it might be in like the main text of the way of thinking is like, if you could write it down, it's not it.
Yeah.
And that's like, well, that's hard to learn.
Yeah. There's a lot of heavier like science realms to go into, like theoretical science and theoretical physics and stuff like that. And it's like, if you can't explain it simply, you don't know it. I can't remember. Someone said that. Someone phrased that. If you can't explain
but this is like, if you can write it down, it's not it.
It's not
it. And I was like, well, how do you learn it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, well, if it's not it, then how does one learn it?
It's magical shit, man. You gotta drop a lot of veils to be able to get in there, which is fun because that's what revelation means.
Is it dropping veils? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
Or like let me get